In English language, paper 2, section B, you'll be asked to write a non-fiction text, and it'll either be an article, a speech, a leaflet, a letter, or an essay. And it counts as a quarter of your GCSE grade, so it's got to be good. Today, I'm going to show you a technique which you can use in the exam, which you might find useful, particularly if you're under pressure time-wise, and you've got some ideas about what to write about, but you're not feeling confident about turning those ideas into paragraphs. So let's say you're writing about why parents should not buy mobile phones for their children. And you've got the idea that mobile phones can have a negative impact on children's education. Well, there are 5 things that you could do to turn this basic idea into a well-developed, juicy, chunky paragraph. The first thing we need is a topic sentence. This is just a sentence to make it clear what the paragraph is going to be about. So you're making it really clear to the reader, this is what this chunk is going to be about. Try to avoid something that's going to send the reader to sleep. Think about, in the real world, would you really want to carry on reading a paragraph that began something like, the next point I want to make is about how mobile phones can be bad for children's education. If you were reading that in an article in a newspaper or a magazine or something, you would just fall asleep, wouldn't you? So just be a bit more forceful, because what you're trying to do is to present an argument. You're trying to get someone to agree with you. So how about something like, if you want your son or daughter to fail their GCSEs, buy them a mobile phone. Now you need something to support your argument. How about an expert? Now you'll probably have to write about a topic that you don't know a huge amount about in the exam, and certainly you can't do the research there and then in the exam. So make up a name for your expert, make up what you want them to say. Don't be silly about it, okay? So don't say Bob McBob from Bobtown University. Make it sound real. Your job is to get the examiner to forget that they're marking an exam and thinking that they're reading a real article or a letter or a leaflet. So make up something like, Professor Mary Young from Exeter University says, the primary cause of academic failure in young people today is addiction to electronic devices. Our children appear incapable of focusing on study when the lure of social media is within easy reach. In fact, why not learn the beginning of your quote before you go into the exam, so that you're not wasting time thinking about names and universities? And so learn this bit and then just make up the rest when you're in there. Next, let's go for some statistics. Again, make them up. A useful sentence starter would be, a recent study by Chichester University shows that, then just add some made up percentage. Students who use their mobile phone when revising are 76% more likely to crash their exams. The fourth thing you could do is bring in an example, maybe from personal experience or about a made up person or situation. So in this case, how about, my brother found out to his cost what a distraction mobile phones can be when studying for his A-levels last year. If he could choose again between missing out on viewing those Instagram posts or missing out on going to his first choice uni, I know what decision he'd make. Then, finally, but maybe most importantly, you need to quash the counter-argument. So, think about what someone on the other side of the argument would say. A good sentence starter here is something like, some people would argue that mobile phones can be useful for research and utilising the latest revision apps in the run-up to exams, but all the evidence suggests that any benefit from using apps over books is far outweighed by the time wasted watching endless clips of dogs performing tricks on trampolines. So, put it all together, and we've got a juicy, chunky paragraph that's going to impress an examiner. We've got something like this. If you want your son or daughter to fail their GCSEs, buy them a mobile phone. Professor Mary Young from Exeter University says, the primary cause of academic failure in young people today is addiction to electronic devices. Our children appear incapable of focusing on study when the lure of social media is within easy reach. In fact, a recent study by Chichester University shows that students who use their mobile phone when revising are 76% more likely to crash their exams. My brother, for instance, found out to his cost what a distraction mobile phones can be when he was studying for his A-levels last year. If he could choose again between missing out on viewing those Instagram posts or missing out on going to his first choice uni, I know what decision he'd make. Some people would argue that mobile phones can be useful for research and utilising the latest revision apps in the run-up to exams, but all the evidence suggests that any benefit from using apps over books is far outweighed by the time wasted watching endless clips of dogs performing tricks on trampolines. Now, it's not perfect, and there are lots more adventurous things that we could do with vocabulary and linguistic techniques and sentence structure to jazz it up a bit, but we've gone from a basic point to a juicy, chunky paragraph in 5 relatively easy steps. If you found that useful, please like it, share it, and subscribe to English Gorillas.